I have a
Hey,
quick question. Hey,
what's going on? What's your question? This is what
um,
we're all here for questions. Live
right.
questions. Bring it.
Your week one playlist is gone.
Oh yeah,
It's
I deleted it. I thought you had went over it already.
um, I have, but I won't. I don't want to look at
Oh,
it.
I'll see. Well, that's my bad. Oh well. Well, this is a
Okay.
test show. Um,
Well, good thing I took notes anyway because I am an overachiever.
I took a little bit of notes, but I knew like you had just put your playlist up, and I knew Jessamine still had
Boom.
hers. Notebook. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So for any of you guys watching this on our YouTube page, probably after it's live. We're gonna try doing live shows every now and then. And today, Jessamine's supposed to join us. Robbie's already here, obviously, and we're just going to talk about our playlists that we started doing on Spotify. Which you should check out our Facebook page. We share our Spotify playlists usually once a week. We're gonna start doing it. Jessamine will do her Saturday, Robbie will do his Sunday, and I'll do my Monday, starting this coming week, not now. You can check out what we've got right now, but it's going to change every week. So you got to be on your toes. Got to be checking these out. So, Robbie, what do you
I
think
just
about our Spotify playlist, and what do you like about this live video stuff?
I love the live video stuff. I've been using that Periscope app, so it's pretty fun. But I just want to point out the fact that when we started doing these together, you were like, "Oh no, Spotify, I only use YouTube," and I was like, I'll get you to cross over to the dark side, man." And now look at you over here, just using Spotify like you've been using it your whole life.
Yeah, I think I actually use it more than either of you guys, because
Yeah,
you can see when people are using it and like what they're listening to and everything. And
right.
I'm always on there, and I'm like, Robbie hasn't listened to anything for 4 hours. What is his
What
deal?
what is he doing? Yeah, but it's way more convenient than YouTube, right? I mean, it's got. Have you stumbled upon anything that you couldn't find yet?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. But I've stumbled onto a lot of stuff too that I've been wanting to buy the album, but
Mm,
I find it much easier to listen. Like, I guess I find it easier to listen to and find whole albums than I do on YouTube. I don't have to dig quite as hard, and the
oh,
related artists are a lot closer. So that's
right.
a nice feature.
And
So
once you start using it for a while, you can go up to that browse tab, and it'll give you like stuff. Check out this based on you listening to this artist or whatever. And uh, every Tuesday you can go to new releases, check out everything that comes out on Tuesday. Well, most things they don't put everything out there,
but it's
unfortunately.
not Tuesday anymore. They switched it. Now new release days are Fridays.
I've been waiting till Tuesday after CDs come out before I check them out. Is that what you're telling
Apparently.
me?
Yeah, but you're not the only one. I listened to the Jamie
What?
Josta podcast, and he said he's been doing the same thing, and he's not going to stop either. He's like, I'm just
Right.
going to keep going on Tuesdays.
It's been Tuesdays since I was using Columbia House Records to order CDs, or whatever that was. Remember the
Yeah,
magazine you get? Was it
I
Columbia House?
used. I don't remember what I used. It wasn't Columbia House, but it was the same kind of thing, like 12
Right.
CDs for a penny if you buy one, the next one at full price or
Yeah.
some
And
crazy.
we're just going to continually send you CDs until you are bankrupt
Yeah,
or in
and
great debt.
And a lot of times, like I never really had a problem. A lot of people I knew would always complain about those, and I never really had a problem with them as far as like shipping and them sending me what I wanted. And if they
Right.
did send me something that I did not ask for, it was usually in the general ballpark.
Yeah. So you
Like I
kept it
think
anyway.
most of the time, yeah, and
Mhm.
then I paid for them if I needed to. But I think probably the worst album they ever sent me was like Eagles' Greatest Hits or something, and that's not even bad. So
Right. Yeah. The biggest mistake I remember making is I ordered Fuji's the score, and they sent me a Fuji's album that came out before the score, which I didn't even know existed. And it was like the cover was like them on a train tracks, and there was like these three shrunken heads that was being held by hand. I don't know. I never heard of it before, and wish I still had it now. I sent it back, got the score because that album is obviously awesome.
did you find a lot of albums on there that you actually liked, or did you? Because there was times like, I guess when I first signed up, I was just going like hog wild on everything. I'm like, oh, I want this, I
Yeah.
want this, I want this, and then
Right.
after I had joined, after I did the like 12 for a penny or whatever, and then whoa,
Oh, we
hey,
have another person here. Hey, look, somebody finally decided to join.
I
Yep,
did.
and we have no viewers and no questions yet, so hopefully that will change. I sent the link
Huh.
out in social media, so hopefully somebody will jump on.
Uh,
Cool.
no, man. Well, I mean, basically, what I was ordering off of Columbia House was like, I was pretty young, so it was through my grandmother, and so I got like mostly rap music, of course, back then. So I mean, they had pretty much everything that my heart desired at the time, including like most of my first ones I got from there. TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool, and the Jeff Foxworthy You Might Be a Redneck CD were the two first like
Yes.
actual compact discs that I got. Yeah, dude, I got everything from that place. I got, DeBrat Funkified. I remember that. And that was
Well, what
a
I was gonna say was like
pretty.
it got to the point where I thought they were kind of like forcing my hand to select music, and then it
Right.
started making me get stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I would
You didn't
normally
want.
listen to just because I'm like, oh, they're going to continue to mail it to my door and it's inexpensive. So I just kept
Yeah.
doing that until I got to where I didn't really have anything to pick from, and then I canceled it. But
Yeah.
everybody always says those things were a scam. I always had great luck with them, and I loved doing it. So
That was a pretty
If
influential
it
thing in my life. Like I got all kinds of music back then, and I loved it. I wish I could
can you
still do
guys
that.
can you guys hear me?
yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. You're at
Okay.
your audio's a little bit lower, but your video quality is better than mine and Robbie's. So
That's because
Okay.
she's
I
got that
wonder.
super awesome Apple phone.
oh.
So fancy.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
looking on Spotify here, and they have a concert section, and
Hold
on
on, hold on,
July.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I gotta say something about Columbia House. I
Whoa.
have to.
All right, let's hear
Okay.
it.
I never had access to Columbia House myself. However, I did spend time putting stamps on those cards, like selecting if I did have it, what I would actually pick out if my parents would let me do that. But
Yeah.
All right.
other people in my life who had it, like we were talking about in other podcasts. I mean, Boys for Pele by Tori Amos. That was the first album of hers that I had ever heard, and that's where that came from. Was one of my buddies had it in his like discovery little package with Columbia House, so they sent that to him, and he was like, this is not my thing, and he handed me that CD, and he handed me and Out Come the Wolves by Rancid, and those records completely changed my life. And so it's like those two records had such a huge impact on me, on just like who I am as a person, and how I look at music and songwriting and all these amazing things. And like that wouldn't have happened, had Chet not ended up with Columbia House stuff that he didn't want. And then that was also how I was first exposed to that's how I was exposed to the Wayne's World soundtrack, and had my first experience with Bohemian Rhapsody. That was on that CD that was also acquired through Columbia House, and my older cousin had it, and he's like, guys, you've got to listen to this song. And he told us, like, I hadn't seen Wayne's World yet, but he told us all about it, and then it was this huge thing. And so then we like head banged all night. I had long hair, like down to my butt basically, and my neck was so sore. It was like the first time in my life that my neck was sore, and it was from head banging to that CD all night. And that wouldn't have happened were it not for Columbia House. So I owe
Hmm.
a lot. I owe a lot of just music and musical influence to CD, or to, yeah, they were CDs, to CDs that came into my life through that service.
Yep, I'm the same way. Like I said, it influenced my musical taste a lot. Well, actually, I was already into rap, so it basically just kind of fueled the fire and uh, gave me a lot of CDs that I, at the age, probably shouldn't have had.
Do you think it gave you exposure to music that you wouldn't have had exposure to otherwise? I mean, because you were living in Marionville, right, at this time? I mean, which is close
Um,
to Springfield, but it's not like in a
no,
metro area.
well, at that time, I was actually living in Bolivar, and I was spending a lot of time with
Okay.
my dad's sister, who let me basically do what I wanted. I was like 9 or 10 years old, so she let me cuss and fake smoke fake cigarettes, candy cigarettes, and she let me listen to like gangster rap all the time. And so she my first CDs that she gave me were she gave me at the same time gave me Snoop Dogg Doggy Style when I was 9, mind you, and Two Life Crew Nasty as They Want to Be. Uh, So, I probably would have got exposed to it at some point. Man, I remember my dad was mad when he found those CDs, especially the Two Live Crew, and that was the one that really upset him.
I remember listening to one of the first tapes that I owned that I listened to in my original Sony Walkman. Was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince Rock the
Oh
House.
my.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I heard they're going on tour soon. How cool would that be?
And I don't know how old I was, but I was young. I don't know that I would want to see that. Are they going with Ready Roxy?
I doubt that. I don't even know if that guy is like around anymore.
Is
Ready Roxy, huh?
is
Play
he
out
gonna be like around
smoking
like
rocks.
alive or around like making music?
Either. I don't know. I don't even know who he is, to be honest.
I wonder if he still beatboxes. Do you even know who that is? You know who that is.
Ready Roxy? No, I don't know who that
Yeah.
is. I know a lot of
Um.
other beatboxers that are
Oh.
rappers are also, Biz
Well,
Markie and Luke Skywalker.
there's a track. I will share it with you, Robbie, because I mean
All right.
it is not great, but they do a specific track on that Rock the House album. But there are still songs from that even if I don't think about it for years and years and years, that I could still like words top to bottom.
Yeah. There's a
And this
Nightmare
is
on My
like
Street.
I'm sitting in the back seat of my parents' car, like I'm listening to my own jams in my
Yeah, parents just don't
headphones.
understand.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Nightmare on My Street. What was that? Summertime? Was that the other song they had that was real big?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
bump that album once we get off of here because at least their greatest hits. LL Cool J has a really good greatest hits album too, called All World. You guys should check that out.
I used to really like LL Cool J, and then I think I don't know, he wasn't hard enough for me.
Really? I mean, I don't know when you started listening to him when he was hard. No, Mama Said Knock You Out, I guess was kind of hard, but then it was like,
For like 80s, early 90s maybe, but I
right.
mean, once you got to the mid 90s, forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Project Pat.
Well,
You know?
he's no Eazy-E or NWA or
Right.
any.
No, he's a whole different style.
I
He was a
also I also
soft-hearted
owned
brother.
I also owned his Walking with a Panther tape. I
Hmm.
had that on cassette around the same time I was listening to DJ Jazzy Jeff. It's so
You were
weird
wilding out,
because
huh?
well, my parents, like they were so cool because like definitely not into that at all. Like my parents, like my mom's number one favorite band is the Eagles. My father's favorite band is the Beatles, and like Led Zeppelin, the
Mm.
Doors, Jimi Hendrix, the Who, the Guess Who, Yes, and up to
Not
about
DJ
Rush.
Jazzy Jeff
Is
and Fresh Prince.
well, no, and not rap or hip hop in any kind of capacity. But even as a little kid, I was like, I dig this, and and of course, I would the first song I was talking about this at work. The first song that I remember relating to as a kid, which it was one of those songs where it's like, how did I relate to that? Because I was like 7 years old, but I remember listening to the song "Ordinary World" by Duran Duran. And that song, like that is a super sad song. Like that song is so sad. It's like, as I try to make my way to the ordinary world, I will learn to survive. I'm like 7, going like, oh man, that song is, I relate to that song. It's like, no, you don't, you're 7.
You don't even know what this is.
Right. So funny, the songs and like artists that, like, I don't know, like I feel like it's like you're born with preconditioned to certain things, and I think perhaps one of those is preconditioned to a diverse musical taste, because some people just
Yeah.
don't, they're not interested in lots of things. They're interested in one thing, and I've always
Hmm.
envied people that know a lot about one thing. But I've always been a person that I want to know a little bit. I want to know a lot about everything, but there's only so much time and day and other stuff to do, especially after, I wish I would have done that when I was in high school and actually had the time. I didn't realize,
Right.
like, listen, 15 years from now, when you want all this information, you're not going to have time for
Nope.
that at all.
But hey, that's why we have smartphones, right?
Mm.
Huh?
That hurts my heart. Knowledge is power. Not, I mean, and Wikipedia is power, but is that the power that we're really looking for? Really?
But if you use it to and you retain the information, then it's just like having a textbook or something with you, right? At all times with all the answers
Uh,
in the whole world.
Listen, I'm telling you right. I'm telling you right now. I have a degree I have a degree in English. That being said, I have a very close and almost some people have described it as a spiritual relationship with a book. You open that book
Hmm.
up, that book has a smell. I mean, and
Yeah.
Robbie, you read books. I know that you read actual books that are
Hmm.
paper and paper. So I mean, like, there's an experience to opening up a book. You smell it. It smells like a book. The ink on the pages, the actual turning the pages, and that a Kindle and a Nook, they're great. I own a Kindle. It's
Well,
fantastic. I have the Kindle app on my phone. Like, woohoo!
but
And Amazon, if you want to
we're not
sponsor
talking
the
about reading
vault, I'll
stories.
only read Kindle.
We were talking about retaining knowledge from the internet. I don't,
Which somehow spiraled off of talking about Columbia
it,
House.
right?
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
uh,
slightly tangential. I jumped in and completely went off the
No,
deep
that's
but
end.
that's kind of what we're doing here. I mean, that's kind of what the
I,
show's about. It's a standalone thing. So
Well,
but no,
can
I
we?
say
Yeah.
Google it so much that I was going to get it tattooed on my knuckles, but
the
I
Google
decided not
machine.
to. Google
Look it
it.
up in the Google machine.
The Google machine knows all. And it does. And I retain most of that information. It also, when you get into like not an argument, but like a debate with somebody and, you don't know who for sure is actually right, Google will tell you and set things straight. And I don't know how I made it by in life before just letting debates go. Like, I don't know how that works anymore.
Justin, what were you going to say before he kept going on about Google? And
Oh
Sorry,
no,
sorry.
I was
Yeah,
just gonna ask
we're all on one.
if we were gonna talk playlists at all,
yeah, we were actually talking
or if you were
Spotify
okay.
before you came on here, and he was talking about getting me to the dark side. And
Yeah,
I'm not ever going to pay for the premium because I don't do enough on my phone.
yeah.
But
Zan, you say
just
that
look,
now. You say it
Yep.
now, Zan.
Uh-huh.
Just
You're
keep
going to be
saying
sitting somewhere
it.
one time and you're going to
Keep
be like, man,
saying
I
it.
know I made this awesome playlist, right? And I'd really like to hear it right now. Like, it would just really
and
put
if
me in a
there's
good
no
spot.
Wi-Fi, I'm not going to do it.
Well, that's the thing, because you have Wi-Fi at home, so you can sync your playlist to your phone, and then when you're out and about, you can listen to those playlists, and it doesn't use any data.
Offline. You can
You
use
can
it
listen to them offline.
offline. It's
Oh,
incredible.
yeah, but that costs
Download
$10,
songs.
right?
Yeah, that's nothing, dude. You get your first 3 months for free.
Isn't it $8? Isn't it
I hate spending money,
$7.99?
you guys.
Yeah,
Or
just
how
don't
much
do
is?
it through the app. Do it through Spotify's website, and it's like $8 or $10.
Yeah.
But hey, the monies are going to the artists, and you get to look at whatever you want, and it's awesome.
I was kind of surprised. There was a few albums I looked up that aren't that popular, but not super obscure, and they didn't have them. So I
Yeah,
was like,
and
oh well, next.
Those are all licensing issues. There
yeah,
are
Yeah.
still, and there are lots of companies and labels that are in current litigation. And the thing about Spotify that I like is that they do very much advocate, music needs to be accessible, and between ads and membership fees and all of that, if you're having all of those plays, kind of the YouTube model, if you're getting X number of plays, you're going to see some money from that. But I mean, it is something that it does kind of look like a model of, obviously the top 1% are going to be absorbing most of that paid revenue, and then there will be certain artists that will get their check or their PayPal deposit for 30 cents. It's like, yes, 30 cents, professional.
right.
But
Check from Spotify.
my Zan, I have to tell you, which do you use it on a tablet or on your phone?
I do have it on my phone, and what I'll do, like, I actually did this with Robbie's playlist today as soon as he gave it to me. I just put it on shuffle play, and I was doing work outside, and it was cool just doing it that way. And also, like, I figured out a workaround around the unlimited skips.
How's that?
What? Yeah.
You have to force stop the app and then open it back up, and it usually works.
Good
Oh, dude,
call.
will you just spread that all over the internet right now? And Spotify's definitely going to change it now. So.
Well, they supposedly changed it before. Because
didn't know that.
I did some
think about
research
that.
on it.
Right. on your hacking abilities on Spotify. Just pay the $10,
I'm always trying to find the loophole. All right.
It's only a matter of time.
My whole thing with Spotify, and I'll tell you, and I'm picky about it, and I watched the movie and read the book way too many times, but a playlist, like a good mixtape, and I'm talking about the book and movie High Fidelity, but a good playlist, you have it ebb and flow, and most good playlists are not designed for shuffle play. And with the way Spotify set up, obviously if you're going to say you're going to have 3 James Taylor songs in there, but you're going to do them in a different, you want them in different places, it's if you don't have premium, you have to shuffle it unless you're on a tablet, which we found that out at my shop because we were
really.
Or a PC desktop, because that's where I use on the desktop on the PC. You can do whatever you want. I mean.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you're using it that way, which I mean, I am bound and determined to use absolutely everything on this phone. I mean, I feel like I'm calling Apple on their grand boasting. Robbie and I have talked about this at length. He said to me, he's like, you could try the the method that me and Zan use, which is actually have a computer. I was like, well, I mean, I understand that, but I like this phone. I see it as a challenge. And ever since I got this phone, I mean, I told Robbie I entered the Sato 48 Film Festival here in town, and it was as soon as I got my very first iPhone, and I was like, this thing says that it can do all of this stuff, so I'm going to put it to that test and see if it can genuinely do all of that stuff.
She made this like super awesome
Robbie was
carry around thing that her phone mounted to, so she could like do still shots, like steady cam shots, and it was awesome.
Makes
I
sense.
was in it. I was a gangster.
I made a Steadicam.
Right.
I made a Steadicam with a PVC pipe. Well, I was inspired.
And some Velcro.
Robbie had just recently posted this picture of himself with a bandana covering his face, looking incredibly gangsta AF, as the kids would say on the internets. And I was inspired by that image, and that weekend when I was writing my script, I messaged Robbie. I was like, hey, so you want to maybe be that dude in my movie? And this like really, because the concept, I mean, this is a super morbid little film, but the concept was this chick is completely uncomfortable in her own skin. She doesn't have any friends, and she's just odd and geeky. And she tries, like, she calls 911, and 911's like, listen, you have to have an actual emergency, and why don't you just try actually meeting people? And she gives her like 3 pointers on how to make friends. The chick goes out and tries those things, and she approaches Robbie's character basically as a dude on her street that she's kind of interested in, and she's finally gonna like go up and talk to him. And I'm holding a clown wig in my hand, so it's just really awkward, and Robbie's got this bandana tied around his face, and it's just a weird, awkward conversation. He tells me to go away, slams the door in my face, and it's sad.
Yeah. It was funny though, and it wasn't the last time I slammed the door in Jessamyn's face, told her to get out either.
Oh, sad, but very.
She gets unruly sometimes.
I do, especially whenever like D&D is involved.
Oh man, it gets heated when D&D's involved.
Oh, always. Always.
I think, Zan, she came over and played that Wrath of Rashargalon with me and my roommate. You said you had one of those, didn't you? Or you had played them before?
Castle Ravenloft. I had to look over and see which one it was. Yeah.
Is that the vampire one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. You have never played it? I only got the one with the sweet giant dragon. No big deal.
Nah, no big deal.
Those games are a lot of fun, though.
I agree.
I mean, if you could find people to play, that's the hard part. I mean, I guess you could play them by yourself, which is still fun, but,
We kind of got into a Sunday afternoon jam of doing that for a little while, didn't we, man?
Yep.
Me and you
sure.
and Dennis. That was super fun.
And Ashton's brother Chauncey showed up every once in a while.
Right.
You know Chauncey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chauncey came over and played with us sometimes.
Yeah.
He was the only other person other than Jessamyn that I knew that would be nerdy enough to come and join in on a game of D&D board game,
Well, it was
and enjoy it, not just be like, oh, this sucks.
The first time I did get kind of roped into it, and I'm not opposed. I always have fun whenever I'm playing any games of that general nature, but I went over there just to kind of hang out, and then I felt like it was like, oh great, Robbie and Dennis were looking for a third player. And then I walked through the door, and it was like, hey, you want to hang out and come over here and play this
Yeah.
game? I was like,
You
yeah,
want
I
to
do.
hang out for like 6 hours?
Yeah, I do. It started to the point where whenever I was getting ready to go over there, I'd tell my fiance, I was like, I'm going to go over there and play a game. And she was like, okay, so you're going to be over there until forever. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. It takes some time.
Hey, so
It's fun.
I've got to get the show back to a little bit of music here in case
Great.
somebody does decide to watch. So you guys been enjoying Periscope, I assume. I've seen both of you using it a lot, and I've been watching the links. It's been pretty cool. So what do you have to say about Periscope, and do you think it's something we should start doing more often?
I think so, that we should start using it just, here and there just because. I mean, it's not going to hurt even if like 5 people, When I was doing those freestyles, I had like 12 people watching, but, one of them was from like Paris, and I mean, that's crazy, so maybe he'll tell a couple people, and so I mean, just a few people watching would be cool, and I just, I think Periscope is awesome as far as like me being able to watch live music. Like I was telling Jessman, I watched Front Row, Tim Reynolds play guitar. I watched Elton John and 311, all these shows live that were going on this last weekend. So that's really cool. But then you stop and look at the people who are getting like 3,000 people watching them, and it's always like 2 dumb, like 17-year-old girls in high school, like, oh my God, this guy's full of drama, and so drama. And it's like, why are 3,000 people sitting here watching you guys not talk about anything except for having 3,000 people watching them? And then you watch like the protests over like the Trump, the Donald coming down to Kansas City, and there's like 200 people watching it, 3,000 people watching this 2 dumb high school girls not talk about anything, and it's like,
well,
I don't get.
That will tell you a lot about the demographic of Periscope. I mean, because that's one thing. I do think it is a younger demographic. A lot of the comments from people who aren't my friends who are watching what I'm posting they are very.
I had somebody tell me to drink bleach. Somebody told me to drink bleach.
Yeah, Robbie, they have not been very nice to you that I've seen on there.
No, and then that black guy made me look racist. Don't call me a white milk dud. And I call those girls I call them stupid high school girls. Somebody's like, you drink bleach, and I was like, dang, dude, that's like the most brutal thing he could have said.
I had an entire what seemed like an argument or something with lots of sad faces, and it was all in a foreign language. I could understand absolutely none of it. But yeah, I was like, I don't know what these people are saying, but cool, I guess.
Right,
I don't know.
At least they're watching.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm fine with viewership, but I like it. I mean, my current struggle with this is because I'm playing a number of gigs, and I have family that live, quite a distance away, and I have friends who live even further away. I mean, I went to college. Whenever we start looking at distances from here, I mean, I went to college about 350 miles from here, and my family lives 100 miles from here, and in general, and these are people who would like to come to my shows, but either they are there's a lot of people in my family that do not go to bars, which I just respect that outright. It's not in a judgmental way. It's just in a like that's not where we're gonna go, and that's fine if that's your preference. But they still want to see me play. I played a lot of bars. The stuff at the but my conflict is I want people to actually be at my show, and so there's part of me that's like, if I do something that's cool, or if I show kind of behind the scenes on Periscope, are these people who are going to have a vested interest in me and then follow me actually in person to where I am and pay, and it's not all about the money, but are you going to pay money to come in and see me play, or is this going to be something where you're like, well, now I never have to watch her play because I can watch her on Periscope. So that's the conflict that I see with it right now. And if I wasn't gigging as much as I am right now, I would feel more comfortable scoping all the time. And I feel pretty cool with it when I'm just, I mean, the other day I just messed around with my looper for 45 minutes or whatever, and had a few people kind of tune in and out, and I was just playing around. It wasn't like a set or anything. And I've thought about doing some Periscope exclusive kinds of sets,
Yeah.
like that's something, and even too, I don't know how we could, tie this in with the vault, but I think it would be cool. We've been talking about exclusive content and talking about, having things that you can get from us, from local artists that you can't get anywhere else. And, even if that would be like a link to, everybody who follows us on Twitter, can you like directly message like all of our followers on Twitter? Is that something that's possible?
And you can also make a private Periscope. So like you can invite like certain people to it. So
right.
Robbie, were you able to save those videos that you did the other night of that show, or did they? I know they just disappear after so long, but
do they?
They disappear after like 24, 36 hours, I believe. But I wonder if there's a way you can download those, or if they save to your phone automatically or something.
Mine are still up. The ones that I left up, I deleted some of them, but because I deleted after my set, I posted two more scopes of Humphrey McCowan that played after me. I wish I wouldn't have, because the reason I deleted them was I was like, I didn't ask their permission to film their set, and I didn't know there were people that I'd played with for the first time, on that night, and they were awesome. They sounded like, once they really got into their set, they sounded just like the Civil Wars at times. But they were all gracious. I wish there would have been more people there. I always feel bad when artists come to Springfield and nobody's at their show. I hate that.
Yeah. I've been to so many national acts where 20 people show up, and they, that's why one reason I don't go to many shows, and there's plenty of reasons I don't go to many shows anymore, but that's one reason, is a lot of the national artists that come through that I would like to see don't come anywhere near here because of what I just said, or promoters or whatever. So yeah.
I do think in certain regard, at least in Springfield, that's getting better. I'm seeing it grow around communities. I'm not just seeing it grow necessarily around specific artists, but perhaps the communities that said artists are creating kind of around their music, which I think is more of a marketing and a branding thing, and obviously creating that kind of brand loyalty and the identity wrapped up within it. And so I'm seeing more of these scenes emerging and people actually being there. I'll tell you, I was super impressed with the turnout at the Jim Adkins show from Jimmy Eat World, whenever he came and played a solo acoustic set at the Allen Ballroom a few months ago. Like, that was one of those, because I don't know if either of you know Rocky Vadalato, but he's another just an amazing just heart on his, he's like kind of, sometimes he's put in the alternative country kind of category, but sad bastard music for sure, but so good. But he was someone who was super, super influential on my life, just as far as from a songwriter perspective. And the ballroom was almost empty, and it made me like, and I'm a crier, so I cry about things when I'm moved, either happy or sad or whatever. That's my response. And not just because I'm a girl, but just because I am emo to my absolute freaking core. But like, it's like I'm like an emo and a hippie put in a blender, and right there is where I exist. But I looked around that ballroom. No one was in there. No one was in that ballroom. There were people in there, but it wasn't as full as I wanted it to be, and I felt so sad, and I told people for weeks, basically, shame on you, Springfield, because it's just like they deserve more than that. Robbie, were you at the last Bone Thugs show? Because I heard the last time they were in town, there were like 10 people there, literally. Yeah. And I know that they play town a lot, but still, it's Bone Thugs.
They kind of set themselves up for failure, because the time before that they came, they were like, yeah, Bone Thugs, and it was like, not all of them, it was like a couple of the dudes, and then they only played a few songs, like made a bunch of people mad. So I'm sure when they came back, people were like, no. And even just off of word of mouth from that, I was like, well, last time they came, they didn't come correct, so I'm not gonna go see them, not in Springfield, And they probably had the same thought. They're like, oh, Springfield, Missouri, we'll just skip it because we play St. Louis tomorrow and it'll be packed. Let's get a day off here. But I was just saying this to somebody the other day. I wish that I could make people feel and hear music the same way that I do. Like it's hard to explain to people like the feeling and like you said, emotion that some music can bring out of you, and not everybody gets it, and it's damn near impossible to explain. I wish I could just like transfer that feeling over to somebody, so they're like, oh, okay, well, now I see why you're such a psycho about all this. But yeah, so I completely understand for sure.
Anyway.
Let's see here. So we have these playlists that we haven't talked about yet. Might as well...
We've started 3 times, but that's okay. It's we're just testing this out, and it's led to good other conversations. So
I'm just going to go ahead and say this, Zane, that you're pretty much going to have to be like the zookeeper here when we do these things, and you're going to have to like wrangle me and Jessamine back into the topic of stuff, because me and Jessamine will just go off.
Okay. That's not a problem.
I'm like Fred Willard. I can talk to a wall for a couple of hours with no issue. So just rein
She's not even exaggerating.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
That would be a good Periscope. You just talking to a wall.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what Periscope is.
I was gonna say, haven't you watched Robbie's Periscope? Robbie's Periscope is him talking to a wall and brushing his beard with his hand like this.
I'm going to have to try to get Periscope back on my tablet or something. Like, I have so many podcast apps that it's taken up all my space on my phone and my tablet. So I'm going to have to figure something out so I can start doing that again.
Can't you get a lot of the podcasts on, like, 1 or 2 of the apps, or are some of them, like, specifically for on certain ones or whatever?
Right, yeah. Some of them they're on specific things, yeah.
Right.
And some of them you can get the old-fashioned way and just... download them through the browser and then play them in your default MP3 player on the phone. Right. But then there are some that you can't do that, and so.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, we're all gonna have to start doing that. Maybe I don't know, down the road, if people are into it enough, maybe we can take like an hour or something like that, and we can each kind of do our own Periscopes within the hour and promote all that, like once a week or something.
I'd be down for sure. Yeah.
All right, so about these playlists.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I can't even look at yours because you deleted it.
Yeah.
Why would you delete a playlist? They don't go anywhere. You have all the cloud space in the world on this thing. Like, you can keep. I have so many playlists, like, it's ridiculous. You can put them in folders on the program here on your computer, but you can't adjust the folders on your phone.
You want to know why I deleted it, and I'm only going to do 1 a week? Because if it's only available for a short time, it's that you have to appreciate it for that much more. Because once it's gone, it's gone. Those songs are going. That layout of songs and those specific songs will probably never be put together again, ever. And it was a once a week thing, and it's gone. And that's why I promoted it quite a bit on all different social media platforms. And if people miss it, they miss it.
All right, well, I can get done with that.
I like
Jessamine,
that. No, I like
hey, but it's okay. We're back on. We've got a schedule set now, so we're all gonna be on the same page.
And Jessamine, me and Zan were talking about maybe doing starting a collaborative playlist for one of these. Like where we can all put in a few songs here or there and kind of see what kind of mix we come up with.
Cool. That sounds good to me.
Because like I was telling him, after listening to your playlist and his playlist, and then looking at what I put on mine, it's like, man, we all have such broad taste in music. Like, we're all over the place.
Well, and what I decided to do with mine, just because it is so all over the place, is I'm going to be theming it, and not necessarily by genre, but also by concept. My playlist that's coming up this week is going to be I haven't decided, because what I've been doing is putting like 30 to 50 songs on a list and then cutting them down and narrowing it down to something. And so but this week I don't know if I'm going to do just a focus on songs that feature two voices specifically, or if I'm going to actually look at songs that not only have 2 voices but also like excellent harmonies, because sometimes those are different. But that's so things that just different things that I'm into. I'm going to kind of theme it like that. I enjoyed looking at both of your lists as far as the diversity on it.
Well, and I think it's cool that we're each going to do different things. If you're theming yours, awesome. I'm never going to do any of that because, like, when I make a playlist, it's stuff that's coming off the top of my head. And yes, all
Mhm.
that crazy mix is actually stuff coming off the top of my head that I actually want to hear at the time that I'm making it. I don't go out to say, oh, I'm going to try and be as different as I possibly can. And like
Right.
just sit there and think, okay, I need a country song. I need a hip hop song. I don't do that. I just put it out there, and what it is what it is. So, and then
Yep.
Robbie, I mean, what are you gonna do with yours? Same kind of thing, or any ideas?
I, I just kind of like to wing it. If I decide to put it into like a certain category or genre, like I'll make sure that I promote that and stuff. But for the most part, it's probably just going to be like you said, whatever just pops off the top of my head. Like that's what this mix was here. Because I just kind of put it together, not real quick, because I can't do anything real quick. Like I put 20 songs on there, and then I spent another like 2 hours like taking one song off and then adding one, and then be like, no, 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 and then like adding this one back and then taking this one off, and that's why I was like, we gotta put a cap on it, because otherwise I'm gonna get out of control, and you guys it's gonna be too much, and so.
Yeah, I've been making them like ahead of time too. Like I already, like the one that I just posted today, actually, I had done last week. So I do it ahead of time. But
What
yeah,
do you
we
just?
definitely need to do the one too, where all three of us. I will actually try and start that either late after we get off here, or yeah, I can probably do it tonight.
I'll go
Cool.
ahead and I can go ahead and pull it up now if you want,
Yeah,
unless you want to do it.
just make one called the Vault mixtape. There you go.
I love that.
Hey,
Yeah.
for sure, and hopefully that won't be the
And
last mixtape we do.
we'll make it an even 5 songs apiece. That works.
Do we
Okay.
want to call it the Vault Mixtape #1?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do that because then it's like I said, people be able to get it for only so long and then it's gone.
Do you want to do those once a month?
Yeah, that'll work. And then we'll do the next live show over it. We can
Cool.
break it down.
I like it.
I love
All right,
that.
so what do you guys wanted to go over first?
I want to talk about Robbie's playlist mainly because it's the one that I actually have in front of me.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, some things that I wanted to that jumped out at me were because just to give some background here on my kind of connection to the podcast and everything else. I mean, Robbie and I met through a mutual friend, and then he and I became kind of friends independent of said mutual friend, and we bonded over music very quickly. And even though we had different tastes, it was like a lot of those tastes overlapped. And so
Mm,
Robbie has introduced me to a ton of artists who I normally would not have ever listened to. And I, for a long time, really thought that, that all of rap and all of hip hop was riding spinners and,
bitches and money, you could say
making
it.
it
Sorry.
rain. Yeah. Yeah. And
But
I was,
essentially, that's
yeah,
what
and that
people
was
think.
that was my kind of impression until Robbie started introducing me to some of the artists who are on his playlist,
Hmm.
that's up right now. Particularly, the one who made the largest impression on me on this whole list is Greaves. Um,
Oh, nice. I thought you were gonna say
and
Atmosphere. I'm glad that you took Greaves out of
Atmosphere
there.
Atmosphere is absolutely #2, and that was the next one I was gonna comment on. But Greaves has
He's
written
pretty. He's pretty
Greaves.
emo.
Well, he's incredibly emo, and that's what I love about it, because I really
Yeah.
I've been a huge fan of slam poetry and of deaf poetry jam, like back in the day. Like I love that, where it was, it was poems presented, on stage, and not just I'm standing up here and reading my poem, but I'm presenting it to you, but not quite
Hmm.
rapping, that line there. And there are some, and I always make sure to refer to these artists as hip hop artists, because yes, they
Yep.
are rappers, yes, they are rapping, but they are hip hop artists, and the level of depth of their lyrical content is much deeper than what you see in the mainstream situation. And so to
That's
give
for
these
sure.
guys a chance is, like, you will thank yourself for it, especially if you are a person who enjoys depth, just depth, especially just lyrical depth, and tight beats,
Yeah.
and the kinds of tracks with Greaves and Atmosphere, and Atmosphere especially, I would put Sage Francis, I throw him into this mix too, where it's like you are saying these deep poetic verses on top of tracks that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to be on top of. And so thank you, Robbie, for the introduction to those.
Oh, absolutely. And what's even cooler about it is they can each stand alone. Like you could by yourself listen to the instrumental and be like, oh wow, this is pretty good. And then you could also take the vocals and isolate them and listen to them by themselves and be like, all right, well this is still pretty good a cappella too. And Greaves especially, like that's awesome that's the one that you picked out of there, because he, if you like are in a depressed mood or something, man, you put on some Greaves, he'll speak to you, man. Like I don't know how this guy makes it through life, because if he is as sad as his entire albums are, man, it's just like this dude drinks a fifth of liquor a night at least. This Overused song, and yeah, like you said, I mean, just the depth of the lyrics, man. I mean, it gets to you. I know when this album came out, I pre-ordered it, so I got a signed copy of it and everything, and I know it didn't leave my CD player, to the point where my friends were like, dude, you're driving me nuts with this CD. Like, you have to take it out. It's just too sad and depressing all the time. And that's usually out of the norm for me. Normally I'm like, oh, I didn't really like this because it was too depressing, but for some reason I connect with Greaves, and especially this Overused song that I put on here, like talking about getting over this girl, and you're he's amazing. What did you guys think about Burn Fetish by ID and Abilities? Do you know about ID and Abilities? Do you know who they are?
No.
Nope.
Well, Idea is the rapper, Abilities is the DJ. Idea actually, right after this album came out, the song that I put on here, died of a heroin overdose. Like, so while he was writing this album, he was horribly depressed and, sunk into a heroin hole, essentially. And then he died right after this album. So the lyrics to this song, man, like, I mean, you have to almost stop and think about it for a second. Like, what did he just say? Like, rewind it and listen. He's just unreal, man. And he's kind of weird, so he's, like I say, he's not for everybody. He's pretty depressing, especially on this album. Now, when you go back and listen to their other albums, they're completely different. Like, you could tell that in between these albums, he found a really good heroin hookup, because this album was like...
I shouldn't laugh, but...
No, like, I mean, but it's true, and... but hey, he put this album out, and it's called By the Throat. If, like that enough is right there is like, all right, a hip-hop album called By the Throat. And he's got a line on this song. It's the grass is always greener on the other pesticide. And I don't know why, but for some reason I really, really like that line. You guys should check out this app it was called Rap Genius. It's called Genius now, but it gives you lyrics for any song. You can click on the certain lyric, it'll explain like in detail what they're talking about. I recommend that you check that song out on it at least. It's deep, it's intense.
Well, you ready for me to tear it down and tell you that I hate all of it?
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
I was gonna say there's no way you're gonna say that, because there's some muddy waters. You gotta like.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like some of the songs I didn't even listen to because I just knew them. Like Dick and Dixie is like one of the best songs ever.
Oh yeah, for sure. Pills.
So
like
yeah, the Henry stuff was great. Greaves and Atmosphere, I've never really liked Atmosphere for whatever reason. I don't dislike him, but I'm just kind of like. It's just kind of there.
Well, you're not a lyric guy either,
no.
Will, and that's that's like 80% of what like Atmosphere and Greaves is about is what. Well, and
the beats aren't really for me either. I think that's really what it is.
They're real chill, laid back. There's not a lot to them. They keep it real simple, which is one thing I really like about like actual hip hop too, is just they keep it simple with the beats, because to me it's more about like what they're saying. Because, like I said, it should be able to stand alone without the instrumental,
So anyway, the Hank 3 stuff was awesome. Split Lip Rayfield, of course, is good.
They just played in town the other day.
The one that got me, and it's not that I haven't ever heard it, but as soon as I saw this, I sent you a message on Hangouts. I'm like, this is the one right here. Bubba Shot the Jukebox, Mark Chestnut. Yeah!
I had to get that one on. That's one of my favorite 90s country songs, dude.
The other real surprise for me was High Come Down, Chico and Cool Water. That song was awesome.
Right, yeah, that song's super dope, man.
It was like, Oh man, it was like a combo of like that West Coast '90s hip hop mixed with like some kind of '70s soul and funk. It was just great.
Yeah, there's a really cool video for it too on YouTube. You should check it out.
Last notes on this I had. I've got to give you credit for it. The Flatbush Zombies album, that new one. Man, talk
Yeah,
about interesting. Like,
yeah,
I don't
dude.
even know what's going on half the time, and it's definitely something I'm going to go back and listen to and potentially even buy. So,
Yeah, it's an awesome album. And I bet the artwork inside the cover and stuff is really cool too. I know the cover is really sweet.
yeah.
Uh, but I mean, yeah, like I said, the whole album is just ridiculous. They're so outside the box. They're so of their own. Like nobody sounds like them. There's a couple of songs on here that aren't even rap songs. It's like, who are you guys? Where did you come from? Like this is completely something I've never even heard before. Maybe that's why I get so psyched about them is because they are so outside the box. Like nobody sounds like them. And then when I go try to show them to people, I'm like, hey guys, check out this really awesome rap group, and they're like, what is this? Oh well, okay, take it home and give it a second. Let it
Yeah,
sink
yeah,
in,
it's
you know.
definitely one of those that's going to take probably a few listens to really get into. So,
Well, this album just came out, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've listened to it already from beginning to end, just over and over again. It's such a good album. Love it, love it. And Trade
so we're
Off,
going to talk.
I bet money that Trade Off is their next video. I bet they do a video for Trade Off.
Well, I wanted
Just
to listen to the whole thing, but I'm also like, if there's something new that one of you guys bring to the table, and I haven't heard it before, generally
mm,
I like to wait until we're going to review the album to sit down and listen to the whole thing.
right.
So, like, I almost didn't want to spoil it, but now that I heard these two tracks, and then I listened to one or two other ones online, and they were all pretty solid. So I'm looking forward to doing the
Hmm.
review on that whenever we get around to it, since we're
Yeah.
so backed up. We're going to catch up eventually, though.
I'll definitely
Um,
throw you for a loop though. So
you can't throw me for a loop for some of the stuff I
yeah.
listen to. Come on now.
Hey, that's true. That's true. But I mean, when you get a hip hop group that goes from like song to song and then they throw one at you, and you're like, what? Like, where did that come from? You know, that's awesome. Rappers don't do that nowadays. Not
Not
very
very
often,
often,
anyway.
no.
You know.
All right. Anything else, or are we going to go to Jessman's playlist, I guess?
I don't know. You got anything else, Jessman?
No, man.
Go ahead, Robbie.
So we're just talk about Jessman's now.
Yep.
I really liked it. It was overall it was like a feel good, a whole like a feel good mix. You know, the whole time. Some of these groups you actually showed me, Jessamine, like back when I was living on Lion Street. Revolution was one of them. I've actually been listening to them quite a bit lately, so I'm glad you put some of them on there. I was never a huge Tribal Seeds fan, but these songs were good. Like, I mean, they're not a horrible band, so I mean, they still put out good music. J-Bug. I'd never heard of this J-Bug person, and this
What?
song, yeah, this song was awesome. I liked
Wait,
it a
wait, wait. No,
lot.
no, no. Robbie. You have because here's
Have
his
I?
his big song. It's nice to know ya. Let's do it again. Something one
Oh,
night stand. Yeah, that's him too.
really?
Yeah,
Wow, right on.
yeah. So
Did not
sorry
know
about
that.
that awful rendition there. I might do better at my shows, I promise.
That's
But
okay. It could be worse.
but
Right.
yeah, that's kind of his claim to fame. But he's been kind of in that Hawaiian reggae market for a long time.
Hmm.
And I've enjoyed his music for a long time. There are some other artists that are kind of, I mean, I don't like Shaggy, and I don't like his affiliation with the modern reggae genre at all, because I don't
I don't.
consider what he does as that. And so J Boog and Shaggy were kind of happening at the same time, and
What? Like Mr.
yeah,
Boombastic, Shaggy?
yeah. And so and
Mr. Lover
Shaggy,
Lover?
yeah, and Shaggy became like the guy, and and for a lot of people, I feel like whenever they think of reggae music like that, they're like, oh, like Shaggy and UB40. It's like, oh, hmm.
Right, yeah.
Which,
Hmm.
granted, it doesn't mean this either. I mean, I'm talking, Jimmy Cliff, Bob Marley, obviously, Steel Pulse, Burning Spear. When you get back into the, third world, into those, like, back bands. But this playlist was mainly just to kind of focus on some of the newer stuff that's out there, and stuff that I dig. And this playlist is as feel good as you're gonna get from me. It's
Hmm.
all down into the abyss of emo, Jessamine from here, and that's like
Yeah. Awesome.
all genres are going straight down into feelings time. So after this playlist, like, bring your sad feels.
Well, don't worry, everybody, because while Zan and Jessamine bring you a bunch of depressing emo music, maybe not Zan so much, but still depressing music, I'll make sure to keep you guys happy. I'll bring some good music for you guys to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, you started off the playlist with the 2 tracks off the new Josh Heinrichs album. Man,
Yeah.
I kind of setting a high bar. I'm not just saying that because we did the review either. I mean, those 2 songs are great. Good Vibes and Puff Herbs.
Hmm.
Scrolling down, I knew let's see, I knew some Tribal Seeds, Ziggy Marley, of course. Slightly Stupid, I knew of. The one track that really got me, though, I'm not even gonna. It's For the Taking. How do you pronounce that guy's name, Jessamine?
His name is Patrick Murithi, and I need to tell you, he is a Springfield local artist.
Really?
Um, and
Hmm.
and he is going serious places right now. In fact, I think literally right now he's either in Hawaii or he's in Los Angeles, and he's getting ready to do some shows with Hyrie, who is pretty much like the biggest female name in Cali reggae right now. He's going to be opening for her, but I'm still trying to figure out all kind of the details around his unique story. But I know that there's a very unique story that goes along with his music. He opened for the Bob Marley birthday bash that Josh Heinrichs put on at the ballroom, and his set was fantastic. He plays a regular guitar, he plays a dobro, he plays a ukulele, and he's a super nice guy. He comes off as incredibly sincere, and there's a documentary film crew that's following him around right now. But that song is my favorite off of his album, and this album that he just released is a compilation of recordings that he's done over the last 10 years or so. Um, I think he played some music before, and then he had some nerve and tendon damage, and he couldn't play as much, and then he's getting back into it and doing these other things, and that song is great, and to hear it live is just, it's beautiful. It
I
it just
bet.
it lulls you.
It was a little bit of a downer song. Like it had a sweet tone to it that just made me feel. I don't know. It sets the mood for sure compared to the rest of this stuff on this playlist.
Yep.
Yeah, it was one of those that and most of his music I would definitely consider just straight up feel good music. A lot of stuff that's made with a ukulele these days is very, be happy to be alive, happy days, and
Right.
that's awesome. I mean, I dig it. That's cool. It's not necessarily my bag, but that he does border, in my eyes, really, traditional, almost Appalachian style folk music in the way he constructs his songs, and so that's something that I think is really interesting too. He's kind of being pushed into a reggae category, so that's why I went ahead and put him on this playlist. But as far as his actual album, if you listen to it top to bottom, it's definitely not a reggae album. It has elements there, but it's not a reggae album. It's all over the place, which I dig.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just had to make note of that song though, just because it was really really awesome. So good job putting that on there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Glad you liked it.
I want to point out that Ja Roots, that was pretty
Yeah,
cool. I haven't heard them in forever. Um, is this a Ja Roots song, or is this just Josh Heinrichs, and the album is called Ja Roots?
Well, both.
Okay.
When Josh and Ja Roots split ways, this was I believe, the first album that he released solo, and a number of those songs were songs that he had written with Ja Roots, and so this was his solo approach to those songs. So,
Okay.
are you talking about Babylon Respect Lower?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that song, and that's a song, again, as far as, regardless where you stand on the political subject of that particular song, I really, I, it speaks to me in a very socially conscious kind of way that Josh Heinrichs is able to do through his music, and to hear a person talk about his relationship with ganja in that sense is really interesting. Also, I find his love songs both for his wife and for marijuana to be quite moving, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that he can put it into words like that too is great. Like I said,
And sings it with so much soul. That's where I feel it. I feel it in my bones when he sings
passion.
it.
I'm sure he feels it in his too. You know, like
Yeah.
100%. It comes through. That's for sure. My favorite song on this was the last one you put on here, "Weight of Sound."
Yeah.
Stick Figure and TJ Oneal. Never heard of either one of those people, but that was definitely my favorite song on this.
You should check out mix. Stick Figure. He's
I'm going to.
He actually did a remix of well, Josh Heinrichs recorded a cover of Adele's "Fire to the Rain." It was actually an authorized cover, and Stick Figure did all of the mixing on that, and it's on YouTube. It's super good. Nice. But Stick Figure is actually he's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I see he's got a song with Collie Buddz and Slightly Stupid. And
he's worked with pretty much everybody, and he's probably what they would consider to be more of a reggae dub artist, kind of that modern dub where it's EDM meets old school dub reggae.
I like it. Like I said, that was my favorite song on the whole mix. I dug it.
And it's also sad. I mean, it's kind of one of those that he keeps saying everything's gonna be all right, but I feel in that song there's a tone throughout the entire song that he's trying to fake it till he makes it. It's one of those. I
trying
feel
to convince himself.
Yes, absolutely.
I got that.
All right, we've hit the 1 hour mark, so we're gonna have to slowly start closing it out here.
Well, let's get onto your playlist then.
Well, we don't really have it. It's a mystery.
Well, I'm gonna talk about it anyway because I took notes on it, and if I took time to take notes, they're coming out.
Yeah, and hey, if you got notes, we're gonna talk about it. I don't care what it is.
If we have notes, those are good. So let me just say my one thing, which I already commented about on Facebook, but I love Punch Brothers so much.
Yeah, finally someone likes them.
I have been a Chris Thile fan since Nickel Creek and even before, and I have friends who grew up playing music in Mountain View, Arkansas, where they have like the annual like Folk Fest and Bean Fest, and they play in this town square like on porches, and everybody who's big in Nashville's played there at some point. It's a little town in Arkansas, and he's played there. Like I know people who have just seen him, and in real life, with that mandolin, he is fire, and he writes songs. Oh my goodness, he from a lyrical perspective, the man writes songs like your most emo
the tones and the mood of it. You could have the lyrics being about the happiest thing, but if he keeps the tone and the mood that he sets with all of his music with any band he's in, it's kind of like Morrissey, like it's like Morrissey and the Smiths. No matter what he writes about, the tone and the mood that music puts off, it's just downer vibes.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, didn't really care for that song. Hey, maybe I should check them out and see what else they have to offer. I like people who play mandolin. That's a tough instrument to play, and it sounds really cool. So.
Well, and as far as
like,
a master, he's the premier mandolin player as far as Nashville is concerned in our country right now.
Do you remember 100 Hand String Band?
Yeah.
They had a mandolin player that was really, really good too. I'm not comparing him to that guy because obviously, but that's the closest I got. So this mix, a lot of it wasn't really my cup of tea, to be honest, but I always enjoy hearing things I've never heard before. And a lot of this I had never heard before. One thing was the Kruger Brothers. It was all instrumental. That was awesome, like just straight instrumental, like bluegrass.
Yeah, they come to Silver Dollar City every year, and I used to go to the Bluegrass Festival just to see them.
They're great. They're great.
I'd never heard of them before.
They're from Sweden.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I bet their neighbors looked at them pretty crazy while they were sitting on the porch playing that. Probably don't hear that too often over there. I wouldn't think it. Maybe I've never been there, so maybe I'm just making stereotypes. But so I really dug that one a lot. Can't go wrong with Sturgill Simpson. I'm glad that you threw some Sturgill on there.
Yeah, the new Sturgill, which is getting a lot of mixed reviews. Like some people like it, and others think that he's almost kind of going towards the newer bro country sound, not necessarily the lyrics or anything. But and I can see that too. Like once it was put to me that way, I'm like, you got a point. But I think he holds enough of his original sound that I liked it. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, so what if he wants to do that for one album and make?
Well, it might just be the only song too. All the other songs might be totally different.
Right, that's true. That's true. Either way, I'll listen to it because I like the dude. He's awesome. I'm gonna try to say this guy's name, Giorgio Moroder. Is that right?
Yeah, close enough. The Chase.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was super cool. It's real. It made me space out. Took me for kind of like a crazy ride. You know, really.
The 70s or not 70s, the 80s like electro stuff. Any kind of electronic music from the 80s, I'm just a total sucker for. So
I liked it a lot. It was real cool. It was interesting. Like I said, it took me for a ride. I made me space out basically.
It's a little long. I could see you spacing out too, as long as it is.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a spacing out to where I was like blocking it out and like just thinking of other stuff. It was
right.
Like, yeah. It consumed me. I really liked it. I really dug Atomic Rooster. I saw that you post. You know, we're talking about them on Facebook not too long ago.
One of my favorite bands.
And I actually dug it. You know, a lot of the times when you're like, you know, hey, check this out. You know, I really like it. I'm gonna be like, you know, kind of like you do some of my stuff. You're like, all right, well, I'll check it out and see what it's about, and I'll probably like it, but we'll give it a chance. And I really dug that one. It was really cool. Both the songs. I was like, maybe I should pick one of the songs and be like, all right, I really like this one more than the other one, but I really couldn't. I dug them both. So. Other than that, the only thing, whenever I see Opeth, I immediately confused it with OTEP. And so,
that's totally different.
So, like, I was like, oh, man. And I clicked on it, and I was like, what is this? This is not OTEP. And I was like, Opeth, duh, obviously. But, yeah, no, that was really cool, too. And like I said, I like being surprised. Maybe I should just stop reading stuff and just start clicking on stuff. Because, like I
think that's what you should do. Yes.
I don't know why I always make that.
I just click on stuff.
Yeah, and you know, it'll work or it won't work, and either way, I'm not going to be like out anything. So, yeah, like I said, I always mix those two up for some reason. It's obviously not because any of their music, you know, like reminds me of each other, but it's got to be just the name. But yeah, so that one kind of threw me for a loop. Wasn't expecting it. Yeah, man. I mean, overall, man, you got a crazy mix. And I expected nothing less than a eclectic mix of music. Alien Fam, glad that made the cut. That was.
I wasn't lying to you when I told you I liked that song in the review.
Yeah, man, that was a good one. Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm glad to see that on there for sure. That's I just kind of tried to run through everything I had on here because. Can't really look at it because you got over anxious and deleted it.
That's how it's going to be. When you get on the ball to check out our playlists. You guys can leave yours up if you want, but people are going to have to check out mine because I'm going to delete them because it's a rare collector's item.
Yeah, right. Well, how are you gonna collect it if it's gone?
You collect it mentally.
Mentally, yeah. Right.
You do like you just take the notes of all the bands you like that are listed. So
I'm just gonna start jotting down your entire playlist, and then as soon as you delete it, I'm gonna post it back up.
Nah, what I would recommend
screenshot
it, or just skim through the songs, and then anything you think. Like sometimes, like the Opeth song, it's so long, and to really find a lot of the good stuff, you've got to listen to like 6 minutes into the song to find really, So I don't know. You can take notes or screenshot it, or just follow me and spend a day listening to music and then move on. Justin, you got anything? You got anything on my playlist before we close out?
I did not get to spend the time with your playlist that I should have. So lesson learned. I didn't know it had a self-destruct timer on it. So
that's okay. We're all learning on the fly. But the one thing is, at least you like the Punch Brothers, which was the first song. So All right, we're going to close it down. I think it's been a pretty decent test run. We got a couple of viewers. That's cool. Our quality could be better, but hey, we are working on with what we got. So, you guys want to plug anything? Robbie, you can go first.
Yeah, like I said, I'm always working on new music, especially here lately. So in the meantime, you can go check out what I have on YouTube at youtube.com/C/RobbieD420. So you can find most of my music there for now anyway. That's really all I want to plug is, just check out my music on YouTube. It's also on SoundCloud, Obnoxious420. Yeah, so check that stuff out, share it, like it. Like I said, listen to it till you're sick of it because I've got new stuff coming out anyway. So play it out.
Jessamine, you're up.
All right, cool. I've got a bunch of stuff going on. I do just kind of a reminder. I do every Tuesday nights at the Magic Bean Coffee House here in town. We have an artist collective that we call Acoustic Abstractions. It's not just for musicians. It's also for painters, sculptors, poets. I want everybody involved in. And the idea is not an open mic. It's an anti-open mic. Open mics lead to nothing. Anti-open mics lead to people who are already playing, just working stuff out on a stage in an intimate setting. But that's every Tuesday from 9 to 11 at the Magic Bean. And then I've got a really awesome show coming up on April 1st at Lindbergh's here in Springfield. It's we're calling it April Fool's Acoustic Showcase. We've got bands from a combined total of about 200 miles coming in to play that gig. I'm playing.
Nice.
My bass player will be there with his upright, and I'm going to be debuting the new set with the looper completely done. Dustin will be there playing bass. We've got Josh and the Giants, which are a completely great band. Robbie, are you coming to that show? Because you'll dig it.
Yeah, I probably will because I'll at least go to Periscope it because if
Sweet.
anybody watched the show that I Periscoped last weekend, it was at Lindbergh's also.
Yeah.
Super cool venue, man. It's a really cool place. So yeah, I'll definitely try to make it out there so that way I can at least Periscope it for you.
Well, and that's something also is that, I mean, that band from Neosho area, they're outstanding. They're kind of a alternative country, but good. It's not what you're thinking if you're thinking anything. But they're excellent. And then I've got there's an acoustic group, and they play a lot of covers that kind of span a range from punk to well, it's mostly punk, I'm not gonna lie, but they're excellent. There's some friends of mine from home. They're coming up. They're called Sideways Jeffrey, and then kind of a fella who's becoming a local living legend, who's always busking downtown Springfield. Ponyboy Lee. He's gonna open the show up for us, and everybody's gonna be bringing acoustic tunes. But yeah, I'll have more info for you for May stuff. I've got a bunch of stuff going on. We've got bands coming down from Chicago to play at a new pub on C Street and stuff, but I'll give you more deets on that later.
I'm just writing a bunch of nonsense at my own website, which you can find the link on Twitter and Facebook, which you can add and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. But most importantly, The Vault. Check us out on YouTube, if you're not already there right now. iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, share, comment. Get more people to the next live show we do. We're going to do maybe 1 or 2 of these a month, so they're going to be few and far between. You're going to have to tune in, ask questions. Next time we do this, we'll be going over all of our playlists as well as our collective one. We usually run these shows about an hour, and we will be promoting them ahead of time. So thanks for checking out the show.
And
what?
One second. While you guys are out there checking out The Vault and my music and Jessamine's and everything, also go check out the Indie Mo Show, which is another podcast from here in 417 area. So it's another local guy too. So he puts on shows and stuff downtown. Really cool guy. So check out his podcast as well. Like I said, it's called Indie Mo Show. You can find him on Facebook, probably on YouTube also. There's a link on my page actually. So.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of work there. It's a local record label. So I mean, what they're doing a lot
Mhm.
there is promoting a lot of artists, and also too they're offering services that even if kind of with your traditional label where you lose a lot of rights, they allow the artist to retain those rights. Kind of hence, and it's more of an artist collective, and so they're doing good work over there for sure.
Mhm.
And I
Absolutely.
failed to mention to check out the Vault on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because that's usually where you're going to find all the links to the show and everything. That might be the easiest way to follow us on top of subscribing to YouTube. So until next time, see you guys later.